Hey guys, welcome to the second video in our series. In this one we'll be looking at Persepolis. If you guys don't want horrible spoilers about Persepolis, stop now.
Be careful, Michael has a potty mouth.
That's a fact.
Hey, future me here. I'm going to give you a quick overview of Persepolis. Persepolis is a memoir by Marjane Satrapi about growing up during the Iranian Revolution. Marjane is the child of a liberal family living in Iran. Over the course of the book, she watches the Shah be overthrown, the Islamic Revolution, and the following war. After seeing the effects of the war and family members detained and executed, Marjane leaves her family and her country at the age of 14. After reading this book, I discovered this theme. In times of conflict and oppression, people tend to polarize. They will change their behavior to be strongly in favor or against the new power, even in inconsequential ways. Persepolis reveals this theme through its characters' actions. The author's family turns strongly against the government formed by the revolution, while their neighbors turn towards it. In addition to big acts of oppression, the author's family engages in little acts such as throwing parties, drinking, and wearing non-approved clothes. The author rebels in her own way, buying bootleg rock albums and posters. First, let's look at Marjane's family's reaction to the revolution. Faced with the oppression of the new government, they become very against it. Immediately after the Shah's fall, her father has an open mind about the situation, saying, "Let's enjoy our new freedom." However, as the Islamic Revolution gains traction, this freedom quickly disappears. The author's family protests against the new government with others, totally against the new regime. Of course, not everyone made the same transition as Marjane's family. There were two distinct groups of people, progressive or modern, and fundamentalists. By requiring certain clothing, the new government created these groups, further polarizing the country. The people who became fundamentalists were not predisposed, but rather turned to this because of the government. One of Marjane's neighbors became very fundamentalist, wearing the correct clothes, and even spying on her family, forcing them to cover their windows with black curtains. These were ordinary people before the revolution, but somehow fell into the opposite group. Because Persepolis looks in detail at a family against the new government, it is easy to see how totally against they are. In addition to acts that may damage the new government, such as protesting and helping their wanted extended family, they engage in acts that have few benefits but are banned and very dangerous. For example, they throw large parties with music and drinking, something that could easily get them arrested. Remember the spying neighbors? This shows how absolutely against the government they were, polarized by the oppression. Now kids, let's go whole group on this.
So we're all supposed to talk about, how your theme kind of connects to our books, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I see that a lot in this book, because it's like there's some people, like the main character, who kind of like, she doesn't completely go against it, I don't want to say, but she doesn't really like it. The only reason she's doing it is because she wants to stay alive.
Right.
But at the same time, there are certain people like, but anyways, so there's this part where and then there's like some people like some of the instructors of like the girls who are like having sex and like having children. They're really into it. They're like, they start crying when there's like births, like, it's just normal, I guess. But like they're just so into what's thought to be like normal now.
Right.
When everybody else is kind of like, yeah, but then on the inside like, God, please help us now. In my book, you got the Jews,
Which are the mice.
the mice.
Right.
You've got the Nazis, which are the cats, right? Okay? And you've got people who aren't really affected by the conflict. I mean, there are other people, the Polish, even some Polish people who weren't Jews were put into Auschwitz just because, they're like, nah, we don't like you. So they put them in Auschwitz. But a lot of, I guess not a lot, but so yeah, some people were not affected by the conflict. Where do you think they would stand in this polarization?
Well, they're not really being hardly oppressed and etc. by the
Exactly.
Nazi regime,
Yeah,
right?
no.
So they both in their opinions, they're also moderate, right? They're moderately being affected and they're moderately opinionated. So they're not completely polarized.
Speaking more on like the tiny rebellious kind of thing, like the chick, Fred in my book, she like steals little quantities of butter and margarine and stuff like that from like her food, and she'll put it in like one of her socks or one of her shoes that she has, and then during the night she'll take it out and she'll rub it on her face like kind of like lotion, because she wants to keep her face like preserved and like nice, because they're not allowed to have anything put on their face or have anything like I guess keep them cosmetics, because like that's against their rules. Like even back when she was in her training, they would, if you did any offenses, they would whip your hands, then they would whip your feet, and then they would like
And then
whip
they
your
would
face.
mutilate your face. Yeah. I remember this bit.
Because none of that mattered when all they were there for is reproduction.
Your book, how far into, like, how long has it been this way?
What do you mean, like that way? Not too long, I don't think, because the girl was there when it was kind of our age, when she wore bikinis and stuff like that.
Right.
And I want to say maybe what,
5-10 years?
like 5 to 20 years.
5 to 20 years. So I guess that's another thing, is that my book really focuses on the transition, right? The transition from one way of being under the Shah, which is closer to like normal Western life, right? To very fundamentalist Islamist government and laws, right? So I guess what happens is when that split happens, right? The people are also split and very polarized.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, and that becomes status quo, right? They tend to normalize again.
Everybody pile on stuff on him. I like that.
All
They're
that.
allowed to dance.
They're not allowed to dance. Dancing is banned. You can't dance if you want to.
I can't leave my friends behind.
No, you can't.
My friends don't dance.
Yeah, but
They've
if they,
conformed.
yeah, if they don't
Because
dance,
they've
then
conformed
they're
to you.
good conformists.
And
I'll feel each other's faces.
All right.
Oh.
going out to you, Miss Barrett.
We'll see about that.